that, you know, you didn't go down to Ira Trevor's, you didn't go down to Miller's and all this kind of stuff. People made a lot of their clothes.
Yeah.
That they, you know, wove it out of yarn and so forth. And if you can tell about how that was done, sewn and knitted, crocheted, people took pride in making their own clothes. Men even probably, I'm guessing, knew how to sew back then a bit, much more than they do now. And just give us a feeling for the kinds of clothes worn and how people put shirts on and coats on the back. You know, they didn't buy it off a rack, they took care of it at home. It'd be just a second or two.
Okay.
Well, my mother was a seamstress, so was my grandmother, and they made all of our clothes. Shirts, pants, suits, knitted stockings and socks for us when we were kids, caps. Just every once in a while they'd go. Had a store in St. Elmo called Ezon's. In fact, it's still out there. Well, I generally wore overalls all the time. And only on Sunday would be when we dress up. I remember the only suit I remember being bought for me was called a Buster Brown, a white linen Buster Brown suit. My mother went downtown and bought it for me for Easter. I remember wearing it to church at Easter Sunday. He made all of the clothes. Didn't hardly ever have to buy any clothes, just very few.
Okay, fine. Houses were established and how they were constructed. They didn't have all the fancy gadgets, and maybe they just had a fireplace to rely on. How they kept cool, they didn't have air conditioners, air conditioning in the house and stuff. If you can give us a feeling for houses then and how they were different from the houses today.
You know, all of our houses were built frame houses. Most hardly ever seen a brick house. Whenever you seen a brick house, that is in wealthy neighborhoods. And houses were built up on pillars. We call them stilts. You could crawl some of them, walk all up under the house. And we had open fireplaces where they burning wood and coal. That's how we had our heat. Hardly ever seen a coal stove, only to cook on. Had refrigerators that used ice. Used to be an ice man come around with a wagon. You buy 50 pounds of ice, 25 pounds of ice. Or the ice wagon, that's how you kept your food from spoiling. It. Ice refrigerators, wasn't no electric refrigerators at all.
Okay, good. I got behind the wheel, and I tell you, it was one of the, you know, it was a lot of fun or whatever. Now we got a train.
Right.
Okay, you kind of remember what I wanted, so when he tells us we're ready, we'll go ahead.
Which one is that?
Okay, tell us about the publisher and the first time you saw the car, and then tie that in when you were 14, your buddy let you drive the car.
Well, there used to be a colored publisher here. They had a newspaper out. His name was Oldham. And he used to come out where I lived, visit people around, talking to him, getting different stories for the paper. And one day he came out and the car broke down and they pushed it in our yard, my grandmother's yard, and it sat there 2 or 3 months. I used to play in it, make out like I was driving it and everything. Then when I became 14 years old, I moved with my other grandmother, and there was a fellow that lived on the river on a houseboat. He bought a brand new Model T Ford and he'd park it in our yard all the time. He gave me the keys one day and told me drive it if I wanted to. He didn't know I couldn't drive, but I'd been watching everybody else drive. I cranked it up and have stalled it about 10 or 15 times before I could get it going, and then didn't know how to stop it. I had to drive around until I run out of gas before I could get it stopped. And I finally made it back, and after then I just started to drive. And
That's fine. That's real good. Just then, people kept busy versus today in the so-called idle recreation time.
well, I had to stay busy because I was the oldest of a large family, and my mother took in washing and ironing for white people out there in St. Elmo, and kept me busy when I wasn't in school, going getting these clothes and things and then carrying them back.
Well, we don't even necessarily have to back it up. We'll just take it from there and start over. Okay, we're going to talk again about that. You didn't have much idle time. Your mother, you know, was busy and you were busy.
Well, I didn't have any idle time. Most of the time I had to go and pick up clothes. My mother was washwoman for different families around where we lived, and I took all my time going picking up clothes and then delivering them, because I was the oldest one of a large family, and I was the only one who could help her at that time because my father was dead. He got killed sometime before then, and I had to do all that I could to help her. And sometimes I would go around, help the man on the ice wagon deliver ice. Produce man come around, watermelon wagon, I'd go around with him and make a little extra change, helping carry watermelons in people's house or vegetables and things whenever they buy them off the vegetable wagon. See, most people bought all their vegetables and things off a vegetable wagon. They didn't go to the store and buy them at that time. You either bought them from your neighbors or off a wagon that went around.
That's fine for grown-ups. What they did, if they played cards, whatever people did to enjoy themselves back when you were a kid.
Well, my hobby was swimming, fishing, and playing baseball. And I was a good swimmer. When we used to go down on the river, police used to come and get me and a friend of mine. Whenever somebody would get drowned, he'd come get us to dive for the bodies. He'd pay us $5 for every body that we got out of the river at that time. And I was one of the best swimmers there was around down on the river at that time. But I played baseball. Remember when Satchel Paige came here, the first team that he played with was Schultz's Tannery out here on St. Elmo Avenue. But they had baseball diamonds all over town. We'd go to Fort Cheatham, East Chattanooga, and different places close around. There's always baseball games on weekends, Saturday and Sundays, and have picnics. Sometimes we'd have excursions. They used to have a little train called the Tag. Used to run excursions to Menlo, Georgia, and Kensington. People would take baskets just like they're going on a picnic and ride excursion about once a month. That was during the summertime, but in the wintertime they didn't have too much recreation.
That's fine. That's real good. Hey, let me ask you something. You go ahead and just shoot him like this, and you listen. Let me ask you this. What about, with that beginning, diving for the bodies, how come you didn't grow up to be a mortician?
Well, I don't know why I didn't do that.
That was a good beginning, huh?
Yeah.
When you were a kid, didn't that bother you to have to pull up a dead body?
No. I was always told if you once touched a dead body, you would never be afraid of them.
Mm-hmm. But did they let you handle food and serve people after you came home from getting the people out of the river?
Oh, no, I didn't serve food, but they served me.
$5 was pretty good money, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they used to pay $5 for everybody that you got out of the river where somebody would accidentally get drowned or something.
Hey, could you do me a favor? Could you take a seat over there next? Nod or yes or no or whatever, and can we get a wide shot, both of them in there? Okay.
How did you get on this doggone program? Huh?
You know, they already done 3 or 4 segments of it.
Yeah, what I wonder, I said, I ain't seen you in a long time. I stop by here once in a while. I thought they put you on movie. God help me. When you see my little brother?
He called me this morning, told me he wanted me to carry him out. He was home.
The reason I can't find it, I got my car down. I wanted to fix it.
He had drunk yesterday because he's supposed to come over here and go down there and set some points on Robert's car yesterday.
But that's the point. That was part of the point. And you was the next one.
Okay, that.